there's a lot of you out here that are starting on a shoestring, meaning you don't have a lot of money, and you're trying to speculate with live funds with a $50 account or a $100 account. And I get it. I understand. It's hard if you don't come from money, if you don't have the resources where you are globally. It feels like you're out of reach. Learn the skill set. Okay? I promise you, if you learn the skill set, you can do funded account type things as a venture, or find partners that'll come in with you. You don't need the money. It doesn't have to be your money. You can make a lot of money with other people's money. But funded accounts provide a way for you to go in with a very small amount of money, and you learn the skill set I'm laying down here in public. You can walk right into anyone's funded account challenges, okay, if they want to call it a challenge, and just walk right through it and take it over, and then secure whatever size account you're trying to go for, and then trade it soberly. Aim for 10% a month, 15% a month, and just make that and stop. Don't try to push it. Don't try to get rich real quick. You want that 10 to 15% a month coming into your hands after the split that you do with whatever that account is, you're registered with, whatever funded account company that's helping you find the scratch to get started. But knowing how to manage that drawdown will keep you from going into, obviously, blowing your account. It'll control the equity drawdown. It won't be a sharp, jagged falling off a cliff. It'll be, you run up to new equity highs, then you have a losing trade, which is reasonable. Everybody has a losing trade. You may have a series of losing trades. But if you take a 1% loss, and then you take another loss at half of 1%, and you take another loss at a quarter of 1%, you're only down 1 3/4%. That's not a lot of drawdown. But you've now taken 3 losing consecutive trades. That's easy to come back from, versus taking 1% loss, then saying, okay, I'm going to double up and try to make it back with 2% risk, because I don't have to just get half of the position movement I took as a loss. And then you take a full 2% loss. Now you're down 3% on 2 trades. Then you go in again thinking, well, I'm going to do it again with 2%, or worse, you go higher, risking 3% or 4%. And then you just stop, or you move your stop, opening it up with more risk, and then suddenly it's very easy to fall into 10% drawdown. And then it becomes a psychological wrestling match, where now you feel embarrassed, you're shamed, you feel like you have to have it back, otherwise you're a failure. When professional money managers, they don't care about being in drawdown. They care about managing their expectations and the discipline that's required to operate and engage. They are not allowed to touch their account when they're highly charged or emotional. So that's all part of risk management. It's not just the numbers game, it's a psychological game too. But you have to manage that and quell that whole desire to get right back to where you were before you took that loss. That feeling comes because you are an infant in this industry. And that's not a knock against you, okay? It's the truth. If you were working with me one-on-one and I was standing in the same room with you, I would say it to your face. You're an infant if you think like that. It's infantile to think that way. It's not a rude comment, it's the facts. Because you want to get your toy that was taken from you back right away. And you don't need it back right away. When you have a loss, or if you go through drawdown, a professional money manager views it as it's a loan that you're going to collect interest on. When a bank lends out money, is it crying about how it had to give out your down payment for a home, or your boat loan, or some other purchase that you made a loan with them with? Are they upset about giving you that big lump of money? No. Nope. Are they expecting to get it back right away? No. No. In fact, they don't want you to take it and pay it off real quick, because that's their business model. They want to lend out the money and get as much interest as possible. So while we don't want to leave drawdown in long periods out there, we look at, or at least I look at it, when I take a loss, if I go into drawdown, it's just a loan. I know I'm going to get interest on it, because my career isn't going to be framed by the last 5 trades or the last 5 weeks, or the last 5 months, or the last 5 years. I have a long-term view, and that's the problem with being an infant in this industry. It's too easy for you to want to quit because you don't see past what's happened to you right now, or what happened to you last week, or the last trade, and that last trade, that one singular event you've made such a monumental experience out of, and it's make it or break it. Every single trade is a make it or break it. I've read 2 people, one on Twitter and one on the comment section of the videos I have, and they're basically saying, yeah, I think I'm packing in, I can't do this. And if that's true, congratulations. You found where your breaking point is, and you're not willing to go any further into that. And if you know yourself well, Godspeed. But there's a lot of folks that get frustrated, and if you're going to quit, you're not going to post it on the internet. You're not, okay? I believe these individuals that do that, they just want to be encouraged. Like, don't stop me. It's a cry for help. Because honestly, if I would have had that as a medium when I was coming up, I would have went on the internet and said, help. I'm going to quit. Somebody stop me from quitting. I'm going to walk out the door. It's kind of like a relationship when your lady wants to leave. She's like, I'm leaving you. And she really doesn't want to leave. She just wants to see what your reaction is going to be as you see her walking towards the door, or grabbing a couple of things of her clothing. If she's going to leave, she ain't telling you. You're going to come home and her stuff is gone. And if you're going to quit this industry, you're not going to talk about it. You just ain't going to be here anymore. So again, roll your sleeves up. Just understand this is what it's like to be a trader. You're going to be in periods where it's very difficult. And no matter what you do, what you follow, what I taught you, what somebody else taught you, whatever worked in the past, you are going to encounter losing trades, plural. You're going to do it wrong. You're going to have an expectation in the marketplace that isn't going to pan out like you thought. Guess what? That means you may take a monetary loss. And that's a tax on success. You have to pay it. Nobody gets around that. Nobody gets around it. And some of you in here, for whatever reason, think that you're going to stroll right on in here because you're going to be the exception to the rule. And guess what, folks? I'm promising you, you aren't that special. I wasn't that special. Nobody's exempt from it. You all, we all, every single speculator has to pay their toll. And occasionally, guess what? The ferryman's got his bony hand holding out, waiting for you to drop whatever the next sacrifice of your losing trade's going to be. And you have control of how bad that's going to be. You limit it. But you have to do the math and stick to it. Otherwise, if you trade willy-nilly, well, whatever happens, I don't really use a hard stop, but I know when I want to get out. I hate hearing traders say that. That's so disappointing to hear, because really what that is communicating is you really don't have it together. If you don't know where to place a stop loss, you really don't know what you're doing. You don't. So with this model, I've removed that guess, that mystery. Your hard stop needs to be placed, period. If it gets hit, it's done you a favor, period. But if it does you that favor of protecting and limiting risk, it's your job as the trader to listen to the analyst next trade it provides. You'll have to manage the trade with less risk because you have a task now. You have to come out of drawdown. So that's why it's important for you to be very diligent about managing your risk and controlling drawdown. Don't think, oh, well, I'm going to start off with 1%. And then once you make a trade and it's easy, think, well, I can do 3%. Because if I can do 3% risk and I get a multiple of 5R, I can make 15% one trade. And what if I do that every day? Even better, what if I do that in the morning session and in the afternoon? And if I can do that, why not lose sleep and trade London too? Wow, that's 45% in one day. Good grief, I could probably quit my job next Sunday. I did that kind of stuff, folks. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all. So you have to use low threshold objectives and work your way up from that. Your career is not going to be 10 trades and you made it. No. Longevity, controlled risk, impeccable risk management. That's how you get here. That's how you arrive at consistently profitable, and losing trades don't mean anything. Despite anybody watching you, if you do it publicly, a losing trade is nothing but a tax on success. That's it. So I think that's going to be it. And I absolutely want to congratulate all of you that have gone through every single one of these videos. If you've done the work and back testing and looking at things and studying, and you're convinced that the pattern's really there, kudos to you. Okay. For those that have not got it yet, my encouragement is for you to keep doing it. And I promise it won't take you long. In fact, if you just started and you just found this channel, I promise you, if you give it 6 months, you'll see things that you never saw before. But at the end of 1 full year, because it might take some of you to do that, you'll have it. You'll understand what you're looking for. Doesn't mean you're going to be trading every single day. It doesn't mean you're going to know the bias every single day. It doesn't mean you're not going to have losing trades. It means that you're going to know what you're doing. And even though you may have short-term hardships with being stopped out or missing moves or reading it wrong, you still will have enough faith in this model because you know it will repeat in the future more times than it fails. And I'm challenging you to determine whether that statement is true or not. Until next time, good luck in your trading.